Hi, my name is Vena. I'm originally from Rea, but I live in Nandi. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Bula, I'm John from Kornabuan, Papua. I love listening to Today FM. It rocks.
Bula, I'm Teopola.
Bula, I'm Akanisi.
We love listening to Today FM because it rocks in Ba.
Bula, my name is Tisa. I've been listening to Today FM.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. Tonight, Immigration Fiji to monitor Fiji nationals who breach visa conditions overseas. EU to offer technical assistance to Fiji for COP23. And Agriculture Ministry's Tuatua concept to help minimize flood effects on farms. The Fiji Immigration Department is working towards strengthening its tracking of Fiji nationals who breach their overseas visa conditions and end up being deported. Immigration Director Major Nemani Vuniwanga says currently they're only aware of those citizens involved in criminal activity who have to be escorted back to Fiji. Maggie Boyle with the story.
The promise of more opportunities has lured many a Fijian abroad to work and prosper. In some instances, though, some have broken the rules and have had to be deported.
We have a few from Australia, New Zealand. These are the major countries that have been sending Fijians back to our country. And the reasons for deportation, and likewise for US, the reasons for deportation varies.
Vuniwanga says while they're aware of those involved in criminal activities, those found overstaying or working illegally slip back into the country under the radar.
We've dealt with those that have been advised to us or been reported to us by the authorities from these respective countries on a case-by-case basis. As long as they've advised us, we are made aware. And if they are to be referred to local authorities like the Fiji Police Force, at the border we work together.
Work is now underway to analyse trends and track those who are involved in criminal behaviour.
Something that may emanate from them, one of the side effects from it is if we are not being alerted, this individual can go to another country. There should be something that we have to put in place so that we can have a control over these individuals.
The Immigration Department is working towards tracking Fiji nationals better. Not only is this for security reasons, but it's also, as the director would put it, in the national interest. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
Suspended Member of Parliament Ratuiso Tekoda claims he was advised by Ratuinoke Kumbombola that he could send his son to school in Australia. Charged by the Fiji Independent Commission Against Corruption with failing to declare his liabilities before the 2014 general elections, Tekoda took the stand today to give his evidence in his own defence. Shireen Shivan reports.
Ratuiso Tekoda told the court this morning that before taking up the office of Fiji's High Commissioner to Papua New Guinea, he had a briefing with his predecessor Ratuinoke Kumbombola. He says he had informed Kumbombola that his family would join him in PNG and also told him that his son was studying at the Natambua College in Lautoka at that time. Tekoda says Kumbombola told him that if he chose to send his son to an institute apart from the designated colleges in Port Moresby, then he would have to pay the extra amount. He also claims that Kumbombola had assured him that the fund that provides educational support to Kumbombola's daughter will continue to support his son. Tekoda says this was also confirmed by the staff at the High Commission office in PNG. He recalled receiving a letter from the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in 2008 stating some unauthorized payments were made. Tekoda says he had sought clarification and had advised the PS that arrangements will be made by him to clear the debt. He further told the court that the debt was cleared through salary deductions and entitlements between February 2008 and February 2009. Defense presented some evidence in form of receipts and emails stating that Tekoda initially paid almost $13,000, which was deducted from his salary over a period of 13 pays. Tikodha told the court that even before his contract was terminated, he had cleared the remaining debt of $10,000. He says had he not cleared the dues, he would not have been awarded Ambassador for Life in 2009. The trial will continue tomorrow. Sharin Shivan, FBC News.
Fiji's preparations to host the next global conference on climate change has received a major boost. The European Union has revealed exclusively to FBC News that it will offer more technical assistance to the Fijian government to host the meeting. Ali Kimbia reports.
Negotiations are currently underway between the European Union and the Fijian government on what type of assistance Fiji will need to host COP23 meeting.
We made it clear that the European Union is in a position to offer support, and we're talking now to the government with regards to what type of support would be most appropriate. I think we do have technical assistance to offer, and we're pleased to make that available.
Andrew Jacobs says it is vital that Fiji gets all the assistance it can get to prepare for COP23 and other major events for 2017.
Well, this year is a big year for Fiji on the international stage with the chairmanship of COP23, the climate change discussions, and also the co-chairmanship with Sweden, one of the EU member states, of the United Nations Oceans Conference in New York later in the year. And the European Union looks forward to working very closely with Fiji on both of those initiatives.
Meanwhile, U.S. Ambassador to Fiji, Judith Sevkin, says Fiji's role at COP23 is important and comes at a crucial time.
This is a very important responsibility, and we think it's a very propitious time for a Pacific Island country to assume the mantle of leadership of this important international effort.
Fiji will share the presidency of the 23rd session of COP23 with Germany. Ali Kimbia, FBC News.
The wife of Anul Deen, the handyman who fell to his death while repairing the roof of the Suva Hotel yesterday, says she will be seeking legal advice. The mother of 7 was grief-stricken when FBC News visited her today, still trying to come to terms with what had happened. Anna Ravulo reports.
Why did God have to take my husband? These were the words constantly being repeated by Anul's wife as she struggled to accept the tragic reality that her husband was dead. What began as a day like any other quickly turned sour when one of her sons broke the news to her that her husband was at the CWM hospital morgue.
When we said our goodbyes yesterday, I didn't know that he wasn't going to return home. He asked me just to prepare dinner and then he will buy the diapers for baby when he returns from work. But only my son returned home and told me that he just dropped his dad at the morgue.
Anul was repairing the roof at the Suva Hotel when it's alleged he fell through and to his death, leaving behind 7 children and a wife who is living with the effects of a stroke suffered back in 2012. So with no financial support, Anul's widow is now looking for answers.
I will need to do something in regards to compensation. The company should have known that something was wrong with the building and that what my husband stood on was not wood but plastic, which caused him to fall right through.
Minister for Employment Choni Usamati says they're investigating the death, adding this should be a lesson for all employers.
This saga just demonstrates the importance of occupational health and safety. And for all employers, they need to make sure that when they're putting people into a place that where they're employed, that they look after their health and their life so that they don't lose their life.
Deen was laid to rest this afternoon. Anna Ravulo, FBC News.
Farmers living in low-lying areas of the Rewa Delta will now be able to minimize the effects of flooding. The Agriculture Ministry has rolled out a traditional farming technique known as the Tuatua concept, where farm beds are raised above floodwater levels. Pakasa Rainima reports.
These farms are always at risk during heavy rain, but now with technical support from the Agriculture Ministry, farmers will no longer suffer as much losses as they used to in the past.
The Ministry comes up with the technology and some of the machines, but the farmers need to form into clusters, get organized into groups. We can work together to utilize those unused land that still exist in the Delta.
Uraya Waibuta stressed the ministry will only be a facilitator. Landowners, Matangalis and Tikinas will need to go the extra mile to make this successful. He says it needs a lot of hard work and dedication, as proper planting can only be done almost 1.5 years after the digging process.
There is quite a long process because this is area under salt water. So once we have to dig up the soils and form those hills, we have to leave it for some time to allow the salinity to run off. Then we put in lime in order to raise the pH. So these are all the process that we need to had undertaken. So once we've neutralized the soil, that allows us to plant some of the basic root crops and vegetables, then we can start planting that.
Farmer Penichamini Turangalelai is already reaping the benefits of the tour concept.
From where we are having this interview down to Soul Line right to Winbokasi, from the road up to here, we couldn't feel the flood or the rise of the water. This farm was the only farm that was safe during the flood. I'm so fortunate to the government. With the help of our sharing ideas, we managed to do this farm, as you can see nowadays.
The Agriculture Ministry is urging those with vacant land to get together and plan farming on a wider scale, as machines will not be provided to individual farmers. Tokas Rainima, FBC News.
In the news ahead, Agriculture Minister's tour continues in Central Division, and senior corrections officers get leadership training. Stay with us.
मेरा नाम कमल रोशनी है। हम लोगों में रहते हैं और मिर्ची एफएम सबसे बेस्ट स्टेशन है।
हमारा नाम मेसी है। हम गोल्ड टाउन ताफुआ में रहता है और मिर्ची इज हॉट इन ताफुआ।
Hi, we Badels. We love Mirchi FM because it's hot.
निवेश तमराव में रहता हूँ, सुनता है यहाँ मिर्ची एफएम is very hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Welcome back. This is FBC News. A 72-year-old man facing 18 counts of rape appeared in the Lautoka Magistrates Court this afternoon. The man is alleged to have raped his niece on 18 occasions over the years 2012 to 2015. The senior citizen was arrested and bound Tuesday this week after the victim reported the matter to authorities. It's alleged that at the time of the first incident, his niece was only 16. The case has been transferred to the Lautoka High Court, and the man remains in police custody until he reappears in court on January 20th. Agriculture Minister Inie Seruratu began a tour of the Central Division yesterday to see firsthand the progress made in the implementation of various projects. Savaira Tambor, who is part of the tour, reports this is a continuation of the minister's tour from the Northern Division.
Senior agricultural officers in various departments within the ministry have briefed the minister on progress made by them in different sectors.
We identified some very good varieties in our collection. So those 16 varieties will go in the Badhutan.
One is just to follow up on the progress of the implementation in our particular programs. Secondly is to see the recent trends in developments in the 4 geographical regions and the potentials that are in these respective areas so that we can prepare for the 2017-18 budget, and of course the real budget time frame that has also been given to us by the Ministry of Economy.
Seruratu highlighted on the need for more researchers.
We need to be driven by aggressive research and markets. That's the main goal for agriculture. Aggressive research and market driven. So let's put the effort and resources into research as well, and coordinate the activities of the outer stations as well.
Seruratu is adamant changes will be done this year to ensure requirements are met and services are provided at its best. Savaira Tambua, FBC News.
The progress of the recovery program in the aftermath of Tropical Cyclone Winston and TD04F last month is of priority to Agriculture Minister Inie Seruratu. Seruratu visited various agricultural stations yesterday, gathering information on how well they are doing with the recovery program. He says agriculture is an area that needs more effort and should not be neglected since most people rely on it as their source of income.
Agriculture is important
and of course food security and income generation as well. So that's very, very critical for us. And of course, after Cyclone Winston, the recovery process, and then the disturbance again by Tropical Depression 4F. These are all the things that we are following up on, so that we prepare as well for the new year in the continuation of our activities and programs.
Senior officers from the Fiji Corrections Service are undergoing 2 days of leadership training. Commissioner Corrections Commander Francis Keane says, with the beginning of a new year, officers must show drive and initiative.
Minister for Employment Chone Usamate was guest speaker at the Leadership Forum, encouraging participants to always strive for excellence and to challenge themselves.
All of us need to understand your own leadership style. Sometimes you think about your own leadership style, ask others. The people who work under you, they'll be able to tell you what your leadership style is. You need to get that feedback. And there's no leadership style that will always work in all situations. The secret is to be able to adapt it to different situations, different people, different contexts.
These officers are stationed at various corrections facilities around Fiji, taking part in a first ever leadership forum for the Fiji Corrections Service.
We hope that this becomes an investment in their lives and investments in their personal journey as a leader, as an officer within the Fiji Corrections Service. And hopefully, by holding hands together, we build up a stronger institution and a stronger Fiji Corrections Service.
Commissioner Corrections Commander Francis Keane says this sort of training is likely to become a permanent method of upskilling officers in the Corrections Service.
They say if you want somebody to remember a message, you must say it, Mark. If you say it one time, he'll forget it. 2, 3, 4 times, 10, 15, 20, 30, keep on saying it, keep on saying it, keep on saying it, and then it gets embedded into people's heads.
Corrections officers have also been told to always practice discipline and set goals for their professional and personal lives. Edwin Nand, FBC News.
The tools donated to the Commissioner Western's office by the United States of America are badly needed. The items include equipment to assist farmers working in the rehabilitation process and their efforts to repair damaged infrastructure caused by Tropical Cyclone Winston. On the list of items are torches, farming tools, generators, chainsaws, amongst other things. Commissioner Western Manasseh Tangidakimbao says after recent natural disasters, his team had the manpower and were ready, but lacked the right tools.
This is another small success between Fiji and the United States. That all started with a conversation of just, hey, what can we do to help Fiji and get them to where they can respond faster when something does happen. So we try to get a lot of the basic stuff to get trees cleared out, or to start cutting boards and whatnot, putting walls back up, things like that.
Now with the latest in sports, here's Jamie.
Nakajaki, and good evening. Coming up, Sevens coach Gareth Baber happy with player performance in camp. And Baby Pearls beat Samoa. This and more coming up.
Na yavangunga andi moala rarara ranavika au tikongona taunu singatoka ando talitaka na wakaronga ng Bull FM number 2 na sere.
Ya dora chubuni kurnambili. Ibora ni batsukara hambara binaranga. Do talitakina na wakaronga ng Bull FM number 2 na sere. Bula.
Bula FM number 2 na sere.
Vodafone Fiji Sevens coach Gareth Baber is impressed with players who have recently joined camp in preparation for the next leg of the Sevens World Series. He says with the exception of a few niggling injuries, everything is shaping up well ahead of the Wellington Sevens. Wasnil Prasad has more.
Rugby Sevens fans had the chance to watch their heroes go through a grueling training session this afternoon. Back in the fold with the Fiji Sevens team is Olympic gold medalist Vatemo Ravovo and Waisiana Thungu, who joined camp this week.
They're great players. They can do things and special things other players can't do, and you're fortunate enough in Fiji, and I'm fortunate enough to be coaching a group of players that have got talent all over the place. But talent alone doesn't win tournaments, doesn't win competitions. So.
Apart from those two, a sign of relief for many, seeing the likes of Apisai Domolailai and Masivesi Dakuanga back from injury.
We've had nothing more than a couple of niggles in terms of injuries, which always takes place when you're pushing players this hard and the amount of training that they're actually doing. But they all seem reasonably happy, even though they've been working hard all week, and they'll continue to work tomorrow. But yeah, the group that we've got here, as I said, we're trying to put the game together now.
While the new coach looks to have fitted in well, he knows too well the challenge ahead if they are to claim their first title of the new series in the coming weeks.
Looking about areas of our game that we can always improve. You're never the finished article when you play rugby, and anybody who's ever played it at this level will know that. And as soon as you do think that, then obviously you're going to have difficulties in when you come to play against good teams.
There is also a hint for some new flavour in the style of play, with Beba throwing in his own pattern.
In Wales we say for your mate, we call them butt, so okay butt. So I've got the boys saying that at the moment, so I'm teaching them Welsh and they'll teach me a little bit of Fijian as we go on.
Players have one more week to impress the coach before he names the final 14 for the Wellington and Sydney Sevens. Vashnil Prasad, FBC Sports.
And Vashnil joins us now live from Pacific Harbour with Coach Gareth Beba. Vashnil.
Yes, we are here in the uprising at the base camp of our Fiji Sevens team, and joining me this evening with the live cross is Fiji Sevens coach Gareth Beba. Mr. Beba, welcome and to the first live cross of you here in Fiji. Probably as far as the team has prepared for Wellington and Sydney Sevens, how has been the preparation for the side?
Yes, it's been good over the last 2 weeks. Obviously, quick learning curve for me, not least the number of the players' names, but obviously, getting to understand exactly sort of the training regime that we've got. It's not my idea to come in and radically change things immediately. We've got tournaments to prepare to in terms of Wellington and Sydney, and our focus is solely on that. But as far as the players are concerned, all healthy, ready to go, and we've had another good week's training.
What are the weak areas you're working on with the team?
We're looking at all aspects, really deciding what we're good at and sticking to that, and making sure we get as much out of that, which has made us so formidable in the World Series recently, and obviously in the Olympic Games. But also then sort of a bit of the mindset of the defence element of the game as well, and being more ruthless in what we deliver there. We know that we leaked a few scores in Dubai and South Africa, and we'll look to prevent that from happening and be a bit more ruthless, as I say.
What players are you looking at to make into the squad for the Wellington and Sydney Sevens?
In fairness, I think there's just a little bit too early for me to say in that. We've still got another week's training, and also there's a lot of boys that are performing well out for the Baba side in South America Cup, which has been obviously a positive from the weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing that as a positive this weekend. So I think we're in a good place. The boys are trained well here. They're adapting to obviously me coming in. That's hard for them as well, and I appreciate that. But also those players that are in South America as well, coming back and adding that competition level to what we've got.
Are you looking forward to having Osea Kolonisa as the skipper of the team again?
Yes, absolutely. We're obviously having a formal conversation with it, but with Osea. But generally, my idea is to get this team, comfortable with what they're doing, being consistent as possible with their performance and their play, and a big part of that is Osea's leadership. So that makes sense for me moving forward.
We wish you all the best, Mr. Beba, for the Wellington and Sydney Sevens. Here you go. He has told us how he is preparing for the team, and we hope that Fiji could win Wellington and Sydney come next month. JB.
Now the Fiji men's sevens team continues to make headlines around the globe for its Olympic gold medal win in Brazil last year. The side has been nominated for the World Breakthrough of the Year award at the Laureus World Sports Awards. Along with the national men's sevens team, English Premier League champions Leicester City and European Championship quarter-finalist Iceland have also been shortlisted. Fiji will have a chance to rub shoulders with sports personalities like Cristiano Ronaldo, Usain Bolt, LeBron James, Andy Murray and Mo Farah, who have been nominated for the Sportsman of the Year award. The Laureus World Sports Awards function will be held on the 14th of February in Monaco. The Fiji Under-21 netball team beat Samoa 37-29 in a tough match this afternoon in the Digicel Punjab's Youth International Series at Suva's Vodafone Arena. Both teams started strong, with Samoa bringing a lot of physicality to the game. That proved to be a disruptive and intimidating factor for the Fiji outfit. The scores were level 7-all at the end of the first quarter, but Fiji gradually began to move away from the South Pacific rivals in the second quarter to take a 5-point lead going into halftime. Fiji's next match is against defending world champions New Zealand at 4:30 p.m. tomorrow. The Fiji netball under-21 side showed a lot of potential despite losing to world number 2 Australia 69-33 last night. The Fijian side managed to beat Australia in the last quarter 13 goals to 12, which coach Vicky Wilson says Fiji has never done before in netball history. Meli Tavanga reports.
Fiji head coach Vicky Wilson says her team remained composed throughout the encounter.
I was delighted that I was able to get all 12 players out and give them an experience against the Australian team, who really are, at the top of the game for this age group.
Wilson says beating Australia in the last quarter of the match is a huge boost for the side as they plan for the future.
So we came out and we won that quarter 13-12. It's the first time a Fijian team has ever beaten an Australian team in a quarter of netball. So that's a positive sign for the future.
She says she wants to see her players continue to impress on the field, gearing up for the World Cup in Botswana.
Gives the girls a lot of heart knowing that they're competitive against the best in the world, and they know every time they step out there they want to learn and they want to test themselves and they want to try and outfox their opponents. So it's a real test for them and something that they're not fearful of.
Vicky Wilson adds the players kept improving every time they got on the court, and that was what they had been looking for. The Baby Pearls will meet world champions New Zealand tomorrow at 6:40 p.m. Meli Tawanga, FBC Sports.
The Fiji chess community is mourning the sudden passing of Russell Talonga, who was one of the game's brightest stars. The 16-year-old was to make his debut for Fiji this week, competing in the Oceania Zonal Championships in New Zealand. Russell drowned in a tragic accident last Saturday. Vashnil Prasad with this report.
These are the two players the late Russell Talonga would have accompanied to his international debut in New Zealand this weekend. Unfortunately, his sudden passing has left a void that, according to his teammates, will be hard to fill.
He was basically a very tactical player, and he has beaten me, I think, twice already in a classic game and in the Blitz game. And I always found him a tough opponent, and I really believe that in this tournament he would have done really well.
Candidate Master Manoj Kumar and newcomer Zenborg will have something more to play for in the Oceania Zonal Championships in Auckland.
Going to this competition was already a tough one, but now we also have to be doing this for Russell. We have to play on behalf of him, and I have to try harder than I have never tried before.
The Oceania Chess Fraternity will observe a minute of silence before the start of the competition on Saturday. Vashnil Prasad, FBC Sports.
Parramatta's Fijian flyer Semi Radradra will bid au revoir to the NRL at the end of the season after agreeing to a 2-year $1.5 million deal to join French rugby union club Toulon. Fox Sports reports that in the latest twist in a strange 10-month saga, the Eels were unable to compete with the French club's huge checkbook. The Eels were in negotiations to extend Radradra's contract beyond the season, but the money on offer in the south of France simply blew them out of the market. That's it from sports this evening. It's back to Jackie now with business.
Fiji's total exports stood at over $720 million in the 2016 September quarter. This is a decrease of around 6% when compared to 2015. Estimated total imports stood at around $278 million, a decrease of $15.5 million. A surplus of over $442 million was recorded. Hot, humid conditions with occasional showers was the weather pattern around the country today. Looking at the temperatures across the nation, they were in the low 30s, although the high humidity made it feel warmer than it was. For tomorrow, expect another hot day with scattered sunshine and showers much like today. And our further outlook, we're looking further on to Saturday and the weekend. The hot, humid weather with occasional showers will continue. At sea, easterly winds 10 to 15 knots and moderate seas. Recapping the main stories for tonight, Immigration Fiji to monitor Fiji nationals who breach visa conditions overseas, EU to offer technical assistance to Fiji for COP23, and Agriculture Ministry's Tuatua concept to help minimize flood effects on farms. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To this week's poll question, we are asking, Are you looking forward to the end of daylight savings? To answer, visit our FBC website. Send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. That was FBC News for tonight. I'm Jackie Spade. Good night.
Hola, we from Latoka. We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Hola, my name is Kanto. I'm from Ba. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Hola Fiji, my name is Florence Ratu. I'm from call number 1 in Tabua, and I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits every day and all day.
Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm from the soccer crazy town of Ba. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.